Hey Aries, welcome to your May of 2019 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so in this video, we're going to look at all of the major events for you here this month astrologically. If you look down here at the chart, you will notice that the signs are different sizes. This is because we are using the actual size of the constellations in the sky, and it does change the signs from mainstream astrology. So if you are new to this channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, Aries, so let's go ahead and start with the 4th and 5th because we have a new moon in your sign right at the beginning of the month. And so this is really a great time of setting some new intentions for the year. This will be a new beginning maybe with, for some of you, your goals, your wants and needs, your sense of self, confidence, independence, maybe even some new beginnings with your self-image. It's really the time of the year to be planting some new seeds and seeing what you want to cultivate for the next 6 to 12 months. Now, also happy birthday, by the way, for those of you who have your sun sign or watching for your sun sign and have your birthdays this month. But for all of you, yes, it is a time of new beginnings. And also note too that this is a lower energy part of the lunar cycle. So although it is in your sign and it can be very active and direct and it could be about, initiative and all this kind of more direct things, it is the lowest energy of the lunar cycle. So just sit with it, see what new is shaping up. And I think you'll notice as the month progresses, more of these things pertaining to you and your goals will be in development. Now, what's also important for your sign is that around the 4th and 5th, Mars is also opposite up to Jupiter. And this is, of course, important because Mars is your chart ruler. So in this case, you could be coming into the month maybe feeling a bit optimistic, maybe a bit inspired. And because it's an opposition, you do kind of want to keep that in balance. So it's just good to be aware of that. And it could even be maybe an under-inspiration at some times and maybe an over-inspiration on the other. Or maybe like lack of inspiration on one, or you're not seeing the opportunities on one hand, but then on the other you are seeing them and might be very optimistic about things. So it is about balance. And so any intentions you can set that is about taking action is going to help balance out this energy. In other words, you want to incorporate some of that Jupiter energy, that inspiration energy, in constructive ways with intention and following through with it. And that's going to help uplift the maybe under-inspiring side and really help balance out maybe that over-inspiring side. But it's a great energy to utilize nonetheless. Now, this will likely have things to do with your resources. With Mars coming into the month here, there is likely some drive and motivation you're probably feeling from last month regarding maybe your self-reliance, resourcefulness, maybe confidence with the things you can attain in life, or maybe some of you putting energy into things like finances or your outer resources. So whatever that is, it's great to do that. And that is where some opportunities can certainly be. And with the balance, keep the balance there in terms of what are your deeper values. Because a lot of you throughout this year have been becoming aware of the deeper aspects of life. And in this context, your deeper values, right? Because it's great to have the material values, but of course, we do want to stay true to what really matters most in life. And Jupiter is really helping you further develop that. And that can be deeper relationships. It can also be things you might be doing with healing or transformation. And in the context of self-reliance, which again is likely quite strong at this time, balancing that with healthy interdependency, relying on others and building trust that way as well. All right, so that's coming into the month there. Then on the 8th, we do have Mercury going over Uranus. Uranus is a recent transit into your sign from last month. And so with Mercury going over here, it's just a bit of an activation with this. So maybe you might get some new ideas about what you want to cultivate moving forward with. They might be ideas that are out of the ordinary of what you're used to. It might be you expressing more of your true self, that unique self that maybe started to shift last month. Because Uranus is all about innovating, progressing, and this is happening in the sign of you and your self-image and your goals and things. So great time to think outside the box, try new and exciting different things, get outside of your comfort zone, to whatever extent that is. And I think you'll find that that's great further development of that Uranus in your sign. All right, then also around the 8th, the sun is going to, around the 15th. So going to the 15th here, we do have some sign changes, one of which is the sun going into Taurus. and then Mars, your ruler, going into Gemini. So the shift here mid-month will likely be, first of all, a shift of focus going further into those values. You could just notice more themes the second half of the month around, again, developing your inner resources, like that self-reliance and inner strength. But again, also external resources. Great time for focusing on material security, developing income, further income, investments, anything that's going to help you get a greater connection to that stability of life, whether it's material security or it could just be connecting to nature. Some of you just might find that spending more time in nature and connecting to the natural resources of life. All right, so with that, Mars going into Gemini, you'll likely find that there is going to be, the second half of the month, a shift of motivation. And the motivation will likely be towards maybe ideas or communication, something on a very practical front. So I would say it's just a really good time to be learning, curious, flexible, trying new things. And if there is anything you can motivate yourself towards in terms of communication in any way, or maybe writing or speaking or connecting with your peers or your neighbors or your siblings. These are the kinds of things that can be very motivating, and it's just a great time to cultivate that the second half of the month. All right, so with that, then on the 18th, we have then Venus passing over Uranus, and this is actually going to finalize a lot of what still is this 12th house energy that's finishing from last month, because up until this point, but mostly last month, there was a lot of concentration in the behind the scenes area. And so one by one throughout the month, more of these planets are coming out from behind the scenes. So aspects of your personality coming out from behind the scenes and going into more of that assertive direct energy, which is again, so comfortable for your sign because it is your sign. So with Venus going over Uranus here on the 18th, there could be maybe some new and exciting things involving your values, newfound values, again, maybe motivations and drives there with that, and maybe even with relationships as well. You may even find a bit more of unique connections, new connections, your existing connections, something changing there, so there's more freedom with them, or there's a little bit more of that true self that's coming through in your relationships. So definitely getting activated there in terms of values and relating around the 18th. All right, and then on the 18th, we do have a full moon, and this is going to be in Libra here, so your 7th house, or excuse me, yeah, your 7th house. So in this context, it's going to be a really good time for focusing on those relationships. I think around the 18th, there'll likely be some awareness about them. It's a great time to do a status check. How are your relationships going? And by this, I mean all of your relationships, right? From romantic to business to family relationships, whatever it might be. And maybe some things coming ahead. If there was anything 6 months prior to this that started around the relationship department, this could be the harvest of that, the culmination of that. But at the very least, an awareness of this area that's just going to help you further develop it moving forward. All right, and then the last thing here is on the 21st, Mercury is going to go over the sun, again in that 2nd house. So new beginnings with that resourcefulness, and in this case, maybe some ideas. You may get some development, some further ideas, practical stuff involving the resources. Again, maybe finances or whatever it is that you're going to be focused on there with that. All right, so Aries, have a fantastic May. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click that like button if you liked the video and you found it helpful. But have a great one, and I will see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.